Instead of firing him, they should have listened. Herbert Diess was right. Germany and Germany's car manufacturers should be very concerned about China. European automakers, specifically German and French car companies, have recently expressed some very serious concerns about the Chinese. They're afraid the Chinese are going to take the auto market in Europe, but they're not just afraid about the auto market in Europe. They're afraid that the Chinese are actually taking their sales globally. Now, the thing is, right, Germany, as of, well, only a few months ago, was the second biggest auto market exporter, the second biggest exporter of cars worldwide. But within the last few months, it was overtaken by who? You guessed it, by China. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. This is something I've predicted now for a while. That not only would the Europeans become very concerned and want to impose import duties and taxes, which I understand them doing that. I'm not arguing against that. But also that their rhetoric about the Chinese would begin to change. It has begun to change because they've become aware recently of this information, which I'm about to present to you. They know it. They can see it happening. Now, it's not just the Germans. It's not just the Europeans. It's also the Japanese. China's auto exports this year grew at a staggering pace, making them now the second largest vehicle exporting country on earth, second only to Japan. In September 2022, China exported 301,000 vehicles. That's a year-on-year increase of 74%. The thing is, these numbers don't include Chinese joint ventures or Tesla, who makes obviously a huge number of vehicles in China. If you start to include the joint ventures and Tesla's vehicles, China is already the largest vehicle exporter on the face of the earth. No one even noticed that this happened, but it's a huge change. It's a massive shift. The automotive industry is the largest industry on the face of the earth. In the first 3 quarters of 2022, Car News China says that China exported a total of 2.2 million vehicles. China not only surpassed its 2021 export volume, but also surpassed that of Germany by 180,000 units, making it rank second in the world in terms of vehicle export volume, second only to Japan. But those numbers, like I said, don't include joint ventures, where Chinese companies own 50% of that company. And also, like I said, Tesla, where Tesla manufactures those vehicles in China using Chinese labor and Chinese parts. For a long time, Japan and Germany were the world's biggest vehicle exporters. Since 2013, the United States has been the largest importer of Japanese vehicles, accounting for more than 30% of Japan's total export volume, followed by Australia and China. However, what's been happening this year, right? The sales of Lexus vehicles, sales of Japanese-made vehicles, German-made vehicles have been declining. Sales of, Tesla vehicles have been increasing, obviously, in the US, and sales of Chinese vehicles have been increasing in China and also in Europe. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because Volkswagen, for example, makes more money from China than they do from any other market in the world. In fact, 50% of Volkswagen's profit comes from China. But that was last year. This year, it will be a different story. They're losing market share, clearly, therefore losing profits. And that is a pretty big problem if you have more debt than any other company in the world except for Toyota. And this is also affecting Toyota as well. Now, if the US and China together account for around 50% of Japan's exports, then what's going to happen when this continued disruption keeps on pushing Japanese vehicles out of these markets? Now, the thing is, right, German cars dominated the European car market, followed by the United States, Canada, and China. But as you can see, in the US, Tesla has completely usurped BMW. In fact, they sold 6 times more vehicles than BMW over the last 3 months. 6 times more in the US. But what about in Germany? Well, the thing is, Tesla has just caught up to BMW in Germany. It was only 1,000 units behind them in the month of September. The European market is a huge opportunity for the Chinese automakers. In the first 8 months of this year, Chinese automakers exported 193,000 vehicles to Europe, according to the China Passenger Car Association. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are millions coming, and I mean millions. When you see these numbers, I'm going to give you the top 15 export vehicle companies. You're going to go, whoa, BYD, their ranking is so low. And they're about to unleash an absolute onslaught of EVs in Europe. BYD is targeting more than 10 European countries by the end of this year. And NIO is expecting to operate in 4 EU countries by the end of this year as well. Plus, they're building hundreds of battery swap stations across the continent. Now, that's only a couple. We've got XPeng, Leapmotor, SAIC with MG. There's a whole litany of EVs coming to Europe from China. At the 2022 Paris Motor Show, Chinese automakers such as Great Wall Motors, who say they're going to build 75 different models of electric vehicles before 2025. That's ludicrous. I don't know how they're going to do that. That's what they say they're going to do. Plus, BYD and Leapmotor all showed their latest EVs. BYD has 5 models coming to Europe. All of them will undercut the competition on price. Now, Leapmotor is probably considered even better value than BYD in China. So those vehicles will be extremely affordable as well. In terms of export value, the United States, Mexico, Japan, Belgium, Britain, Russia, Germany, South Korea, Australia, and Saudi Arabia are the top 10 countries that China exports cars to. The cumulative export value was $46 billion US, accounting for 46% of China's total car exports. Now, these are the top 15 Chinese vehicle exporters in the first 3 quarters of 2022. Number 1, SAIC, is the clear leader with 510,000. Number 2 is Chery. Number 3 is Geely. You wouldn't think Geely would be in third, would you? I mean, you know about Volvo, you know about Lynk & Co, you know about Geometry, you know about Polestar. Geely have a whole lot of brands, and they're only in third place. Chang'an, 140,000. Great Wall Motors, 112,000. BAIC, 82,000. JAC, 80,000. Dongfeng, 69,000. Sino Truck, 58,000. BYD all the way back with only 24,000. BYD, I mean, the fact that they only shipped 24,600 vehicles in the first 3 quarters of this year worldwide, we can all see what they're doing now, can't we? The way they're ramping vehicles up, they plan on delivering 3.5 million vehicles globally next year. 50% of those will be electric, 50% plug-in hybrids. Clearly, BYD are going to jump up these charts. I mean, where are all those vehicles going to go? Well, a lot of them will go to China, but a lot of them are going to go to Europe. Now, keep in mind, Europe only charges a 10% import tax on Chinese EVs. Now, the Chinese can absolutely sell their cars and make massive profits in Europe, and they know it. Now, those numbers from SAIC, they exported more than 500,000 vehicles in the first 3 quarters of this year, including cars like the MG4. Now, you've all seen the MG4's reviews. I mean, it's averaging 9 out of 10 from critics. 9 out of 10. People are saying it's the best electric car in the world for the price. That's some high praise. That thing will sell incredibly well. But not only that, what it's doing is cars like that are changing people's mind about electric cars. The BYD is doing the same thing, changing people's mind about Chinese electric cars. As you can see, if a vehicle is affordable and it's priced under the cost of the competition, people don't really care where it's made. They'll buy it if it's worth the money. And the thing is, right, Geely is planning on an electric vehicle onslaught as well. Thanks to Lynk & Co and Geometry, Polestar, Volvo, etc., all their other EV brands. Well, there's a good chance that they'll sell millions of EVs before 2025, with most of them being manufactured in China. Geely's growth rate in overseas markets was faster than Chery in the first 3 quarters, with a cumulative export of 142,000 vehicles, which is a 90% increase year on year. Now, even though BYD's numbers aren't huge, those export numbers are more than double what they did last year. And if you actually start to put together the numbers that we're seeing now, BYD begin to deliver all over the world, well, the picture is completely different to what it was a year ago. When I first started this channel, hardly anyone knew about BYD. Now, well, they're becoming a household name for electric vehicles. The other thing to keep in mind, right? Tesla vehicles, they are known as being excellent quality if they're made in China. I mean, that's what's happened with Tesla's Gigafactory Shanghai. It's promoted this image that electric vehicles that are made in China are inherently better than from other countries, which isn't true, but that's what's happened as a result of what people keep saying about Tesla vehicles that are made in China. They keep saying they're excellent quality. And this may have a translation effect onto other electric brands in China. Who knows? My key point here is Germany and Europe are clearly very concerned they're losing the auto market. Japan as well. Now, Germany's GDP and Japan's GDP is dominated by the auto market. If they lose that, they'll be in severe economic trouble. I can see why they're worried. I can see why the alarmist rhetoric is starting, because this is very real, very serious. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye-bye.